I really feel so old now. Really, especially old.
I've realized that even every year can't save my looks anymore. I can only slowly accept the fact of aging.
I was born in '87 and am single and unmarried, what you might call an older single woman. Actually, I'm very self-aware, knowing that I'm getting older and might become an older mother, so I've lowered my standards for choosing a partner significantly. I don't need a car or a house, no dowry, and I can even contribute to the dowry. Even with this offer, no one is interested. I keep wondering if I won't be able to get married in this lifetime, and where my final destination will be. A nursing home, an elderly care home. Ending up alone. Thinking about it, I deeply regret not getting married and having 2 kids when I was younger. But what's the use of regretting now? So if you want to get married, do it early, get married early.
There are so many beautiful older single women in Shanghai. I visit about 10 cities every year, and in each city, I use social apps to match with locals. The proportion of older single women matched in Shanghai is the highest. Most of them are in their 30s with stylish and exquisite makeup, earning over 200,000. I deeply feel that their hearts are filled with just 3 words: unwilling to accept. Once you're used to living in the magic city, everywhere else really feels like the countryside. Housing prices can easily reach hundreds of thousands, and renting an old apartment can cost several thousand a month. It's easy to come across financial elites with annual salaries over $1 million. For men, even a bowl of noodles in a mall can cost dozens to hundreds. And taking a taxi anywhere can also cost dozens to hundreds. Asking him to return to his hometown feels like a princess falling into the common world. Most of them are destined not to return, nor to get married. Men tend to compromise at a certain age, but it's not as easy for women. After all, the cost for them to stay in the big city is much lower, as long as they can endure the temptations and desires. Perhaps the boys from those small places, no matter how much they hope and dream, are destined not to catch the eye of the school beauties they once liked. They can't enter their lives. Even if they end up stuck with themselves, it won't benefit you. Yet the businessmen in big cities keep coming one after another. I haven't married for a long time because
I lack a sense of security, meaning I don't feel at ease with anyone, and I'm not very willing to take such a risk even if you tell me I can get a divorce. Ultimately, a person can choose to marry and spend the rest of their life with someone else.
It comes from having enough security for women with good conditions. Especially older single men within the system who can't find a wife. They all have a common issue, which is being calculative. Why are they still single? Despite having money, it's because they are both calculative and stingy. Around me, even those who are poor have found wives, but those who are stingy and calculative can't find one, yet they act as if they don't lack women. Full of superiority. They even try to manipulate you, making you feel like choosing them is such an incredible thing, and they expect you to fall in love with them at first sight. Then, when it comes to giving, they just want to get something for nothing, like getting gold coins for free. Their mindset is all about taking advantage. These people often talk about mutual effort, saying that giving should be gradual, emphasizing gender equality and pursuing pure love. In reality, they just want the woman to give first. So they aim to secure a partner who offers the highest value and maximizes their benefits at the lowest cost without spending their own money. And it also makes him look good. In summary, he wants to find an Empress Wu Zechen who serves him tea and water.
The young lady is quite pretty, thank you. Where is your bar's hometown? You're from Guang'an, Sichuan.
Your education? A graduate degree. Which university? Wenzhou University. Your profession? I am a teacher now.
Wow, what are your requirements for finding a partner? I hope the age difference isn't too big. Around 3 to 5 years. Within 5 years, right? Within 5 years. Where should they be from? I think it doesn't matter where they're from. The main thing is that we can communicate well, have a good personality, and get along. As for height, the height should be about 170 centimeters. This requirement isn't high. And what about their annual income? Income, I think it should be higher than mine. Higher than yours. How much is yours approximately? I might be around 20. Hey, are you willing to buy a house together? I think it's possible. Yeah, 2 people need to have a connection. I think it's more important to see if we can communicate well. How do you define this connection? Actually, you'll know right away when you talk. Do you think this connection is the same as physical attraction? It should be, but not necessarily. You might like someone at first sight, but after spending time together, you realize they might not be exactly what you want. So you need to interact to really know.
One is appearance, the other is inner qualities, right? Yes. And since you're so beautiful, you must have a lot of admirers. Well, there are many single female teachers at our school. When the time comes, I'll introduce all those resources to you. As long as they're young and beautiful, we'll take care of it. Help with recommendations. Do you know how to cook? I'm not very good at it. Not really. Are you the only one at home?
I also have a younger brother. Oh, you have a brother. How do you view foodimo? They say if you have a younger brother, you're a foodimo. Oh, really? But it doesn't necessarily mean you're a foodimo. It's just that within my capabilities, if I can offer him some help, I certainly wouldn't say he's definitely my brother, but I also wouldn't say I have a family. You still need to distinguish between what's more important, right?
Do you support the bride price? Bride price, huh? I think it's a matter of meaning, right? I'm not sure what it means here. In Sichuan, the bride price is usually around 60 to 100,000. Oh, that's acceptable. It is quite high. But we don't have the dowry tradition like in Changzhou. We don't have that. Oh, so it's the same. Just lower it. We're not counting on it, right? Anyway, in the end, it's about two families coming together to live their lives, right? Okay, so the last question. If you could only make one request regarding software or hardware, what would you value the most? I think it should be his sense of responsibility. This girl has very correct values.
I wish you find a partner soon. I was born in 89. I'm 36 this year, and in 4 years, I'll be 40. In recent years, I've been under quite a lot of pressure due to personal matters, especially being afraid to contact my parents. Sometimes I don't even feel at ease at work. I actually think I look okay, with a height of 1.72 meters, a bachelor's degree, and a decent income. My conditions aren't very good, just average. But I found that finding a suitable partner is really quite difficult. To be honest, when I was in my 20s, there were people who pursued me, and their conditions were also quite good. Well, at that time I was younger. Also, my aunts and uncles were particularly enthusiastic. They often introduced me to potential partners, and now looking back, I kind of regret it. If I had gotten married in my 20s, my child would be old enough to run errands by now. I feel like I've held myself back.
Dating for older women is like going to the bathroom. You walk into the first stall and find there's no paper. So you move to the second stall and find there's no water. Then you go to the third stall and find there's neither paper nor water. When you want to go back to the first two stalls, you find they're already occupied. This morning, an older woman came to see me. Last year, she met a guy who is a partner in a company, earning 300,000 to 400,000 a year. He's an only child with a fully paid house and car, and he's the same age as her. They had an on and off relationship for 3 months, and the guy was quite proactive, although at the beginning, he was a bit, because of the woman's age. But her friends told her, oh, that guy has a stable job, a secure position, and it matches well with your work. They said, considering the guy isn't young either, he's probably eager to get married, so you both don't need to waste too much time on dating. The guy seemed to agree with this reasoning and started interacting with the woman more seriously, thinking about establishing a relationship sooner and moving towards marriage. However, when the guy confessed his feelings, the woman hesitated because she felt that the guy's height didn't meet her expectations, and they didn't look compatible together. Initially, she wanted to slowly adapt and find his strengths, but the guy's sudden confession made her feel very conflicted, as she didn't have a genuine physical attraction to him. Consequently, in their subsequent interactions, her attitude became increasingly perfunctory. After the guy completely gave up, she actually felt relieved and began to adjust her mindset, starting to date again. Over the next year, she met about 7 or 8 different men. Whether introduced by friends or met on her own, none of them worked out. So the woman came back to ask me about the guy she met last year, wondering how he was doing now. I told her that he was already married. She was shocked and asked, what? He's married? How did that happen? I said the guy is 5 years younger than you and quite good looking. As soon as the woman heard this, she immediately responded, isn't it because of some technological condition that he found someone good? I wanted to ask her why she was so concerned about the previous blind date situation. What does the condition of the person he married have to do with you? The woman hesitated for a while, and then told me, well, in the time after that, none of the guys I met through you were as good as him. So I asked her, didn't you like handsome guys? It shouldn't be hard to find someone taller and more handsome than him, right? The woman replied, actually, I did encounter this blame shifting, an emotional value thing, and it was indeed quite full. But those guys, their education is average, their income isn't high, and their financial conditions are quite poor. They completely lack the basic conditions necessary for marriage. I also tried to pursue those good-looking guys with good conditions, but there weren't any single ones. So after comparing so many people, I realized that I actually care more about the quality of married life. At that time, I was quite concerned about the other person's appearance, but after more than a year, I figured it out. Chong, can you still find some guys similar to the first condition? I hesitated for a moment, but I decided to tell her the truth. Well, previously, being in your early 30s was your last chance in the unmarried track, but you didn't seize it. You wasted more than a year and still haven't found a suitable candidate, and now you're spending more time to filter through. Searching, waiting for your luck to find someone both suitable and satisfactory doesn't even count the time you'll spend dating. Think about how old you are. Kian is in her late 30s, so it's very difficult for unmarried men to consider you. Women over 34 need to start considering divorced men to expand their options. If we're lucky, we might find a divorced man, separated, with no desires, and a bit of money, who might be mature and stable. But if we're unlucky, this divorced man might be separated with kids. Get married directly, and you'll become a stepmother. If you really want to find an unmarried man, you'll have to lower your standards again and again. You might end up marrying an unmarried man you wouldn't have considered when you were younger. I've seen this situation too many times. Women say, Bob, but I have good conditions. Can't I make it work? I don't care about houses or cars, and my job is stable, right? If a man marries me, his life pressure will be much less. I say this has nothing to do with whether your conditions are good or not. Finding a partner is like going to the bathroom and choosing the first stall you see. You find there's no paper in the first stall, so you move to the second stall, and then you find there's no water in the third stall. When you want to go back to the first two stalls, you find they're already occupied. No matter how good your conditions are, you can't just pull someone out, right? But after hearing this, women completely disagree because they can't accept that even with such good conditions, they have to lower their standards again and again and still end up with someone they don't like at all. But there's no choice. Time is that cruel. If you're in a hurry, you might have to make do with the third stall. At least it can meet your needs. If you're not in a hurry, you can try to wait. See when the person in the first stall comes out. But be aware that if you choose to keep waiting, you might not get to see anyone come out. Meanwhile, the third stall might be taken by someone else. And that's when you truly understand what panic feels like.
Brothers, let me tell you the truth. Men should get married early. I got married when I was 24, and I was still quite young at that time. Actually, I wasn't particularly eager to get married then, because I hadn't settled into a job yet, and still wanted to explore other cities. However, I started dating too early, and by that time, my wife and I had already been together for 3 years. She was exactly 2 years older than me, so she was 26, and her family was pressuring her a lot. She was very eager to get married, and kept asking me if we were going to get married. She said if we didn't get married, she would go back and start blind dating. At that time, the phrase she often repeated was, "I'm already 26, I can't wait any longer," and she nagged me about it for more than half a year. Because of this, I specifically went to seek advice from my dad. The first thing my dad said to me was to call me stupid. He said there will be plenty of opportunities to earn money in the future. Get married early, and if you're poor, you'll only be poor for those 2 or 3 years. Right? Once you have kids and they grow up, you'll be earning money, and your wife will be earning money too. 2 people earning money is definitely faster than 1 person earning money. At that time, I thought, wow, that really makes sense. So we got married at the end of the year. Actually, I really want to share what my dad said with you, because only guys from wealthy families can afford to be picky and slowly choose based on conditions. For ordinary guys, just find someone who likes you. Just marry a girl who likes you. By the time you're in your 30s, your kids will be all grown up. Meanwhile, boys your age will still be worrying about blind dates. In fact, this will be the greatest achievement of your life. Nowadays, girls aren't unattractive, and with makeup, they all look beautiful. Plus, when the lights are off at night, everyone looks the same. You really shouldn't be picky. As long as a girl doesn't mind you, you should just get married. Otherwise, by the time you're in your 30s, you might not have made any money either. By that time, if you go on blind dates with slightly older women, their demands are frighteningly high. They might ask for a dowry of 200,000 or 300,000 yuan. How could you afford that? You might end up single for life. So if you're not particularly ambitious or exceptionally capable, then the most important thing for you right now is to find a girlfriend and get married early.
I was born in 1985 this year. I'm 41 years old. Many people might think that at my age, not being married or having children, from a conventional perspective, is a kind of failure, regardless of how I am in other aspects. They all think I'm a very unsuccessful person, the so-called leftover woman who will grow old alone. But as for my own personal feelings, right now I feel more relieved, free, relaxed, and open-minded than ever before. This is what is called unprecedented happiness. Why do I feel this way? To be honest, when I was a child, because there were many siblings in the family, I didn't receive enough care, and I had to study every day, so without understanding why. Usually it was because my parents didn't pay attention to me, and I had many issues growing up. I couldn't solve them on my own, so I had many psychological issues and felt stressed. Actually, as a child, before taking the college entrance exam at 17 or 18, as a naive kid, I was quite unhappy, very stressed, and very unhappy. And then, after I went to school, even before officially dating my first boyfriend in my 20s, I couldn't figure things out. There were many societal issues. You had to study, then work, struggle for a living, get deceived by men, and couldn't figure things out amidst various emotional entanglements, etc. It was very unhappy. So that was my state before I was about 30. After 30, my financial situation was basically very good. However, I was still troubled by emotional issues, including whether to have children, whether to get married quickly, and many other such questions that I couldn't figure out. It was still quite distressing and hard to let go, until last year, when I truly figured it out, understood, and let go. I felt that I would no longer be troubled by anything. Emotions, finances, people's attitudes, whether to have children or not, whether there is a man or not, and all these emotional and financial issues, the societal pressures of life, and all these problems. I have completely figured out and let go of all the entanglements and confusions, and I am now enlightened. There is nothing that can make my heart feel uneasy. We can make me feel. I feel like I might not be able to let go, so I work, because I still need to work right now. Of course, if I could let go of work, I could travel around the world. And then I would be free in body and mind. Because right now I have the physical strength, energy, finances, ideas, wisdom, judgment, and vision. I have everything, really just lacking a bit of time. When the time comes, I will definitely travel around the world happily.
Why do older single women like to stay in big cities? Because there are many rich second-generation individuals and also many fake wealthy people in big cities. Now, these fake rich second-generation and fake wealthy people take these older single women for a ride, stay in five-star hotels, high-end hotels, go to upscale restaurants, and drink fake wine for a few days, right? Then after breaking up, these older single women look down on ordinary men, right? If you drive a car, if you drive a Cadillac, they look down on you. Once they get in the car, they start coughing. They must sit in a luxury car, at least an Audi A6 or a Mercedes, right? They cough in other cars, right? Then slowly, they ruin a person's entire life. Actually, these fake rich second generation and fake wealthy people are harmful to the whole society, right? They seriously affect the birth rate. You are simply unforgivable, ruining a person's entire life.
Some girls, wake up quickly. Wake up quickly. All of you wake up, girls. Wake up. I'll say it again. All men over 30, you shouldn't have anxiety about being single or about your age, okay? Age is not that exaggerated or cruel for you. Let me ask you one question. Just think about how old a girl born in 1990 is now. Think carefully about this question. How old is a girl born in 1990 now? 35 years old in full years, 36 in nominal age. What does that mean? What does a 36-year-old woman mean? Tell me, what does a 36-year-old woman mean? Many women, I mean many but not all, will use the warning of having children to scare you. But a 36-year-old woman no longer has this advantage. She can no longer use this reason. So, 31-year-old men don't need to worry at all. They don't need to be anxious, because they will come looking for you instead. Come on, let's get married quickly. If we don't, I really won't be able to have children. You don't believe me, do you? Let me show you. The current dating scene in Zhengzhou. Take a look at these two videos. See that? Do you still have anything to say? Still anxious? Just put your mind at ease, okay? What you need to do now is just wait for someone to actively seek you out to get into a relationship, and that's it.